He is the head coach of the University of Virginia national champion lacrosse team. He is a Hall of Famer, 4 national titles, 6 conference titles, on and on and on and on. Just you got more lines now in your resume, don't you, Dom?
Mac, it's quite humbling to have it kind of reeled off like that. It doesn't always feel like that. Those may not be the most important things in the world. At the same time, I'm very appreciative. That we've had a lot of. I've had a lot of good people around me, and a lot of guys have worked really hard, and we have had some success. And this spring certainly, was a sort of a gratifying ending. It's been a while, and you and I have been doing this for some time now.
Yeah, we have, and on top of everything else, because I wrote Vincent when I got the press release. You're nominated for an ESPY, for goodness' sake.
How about that, huh? You don't happen to have Cameron Diaz's number there with you, do you?
I do. I have her in my phone. I normally call her after.
I might give her a call when I'm out there. When you look at the people I'm up against, if you vote for me, Mac, that'd be 2 votes. We'll have yours and mine, and we'll take our chances.
Wait a minute, Maggie, Emma, Chrissy.
That's exactly right. Absolutely. I would hope that my girls would vote for their father.
No, that's terrific stuff. What was your reaction to that? Finding out that you're on this ESPY list?
I was actually giving a tour of campus to a family, and my phone rang, and I don't always pick it up, but it was my daughter. I recognized the number, and Molly called me and told me, and I said, "Come on, that's not true," and then she even read to me the category I was in with the people that I'm in with, so the Green Bay Packers and Auburn football and UConn basketball and Rick Carlisle. So it's all slightly amazing, and June's a busy month for us, and so I haven't had a chance to really wrap my hands around the whole thing. But it certainly has been a treat at the same time.
Yeah, you are going, right? I mean, you are going.
Well, again, you're telling people, look, I'm really busy. It's a little bit of a pain, and guys think, get out of here. I said, you're right. Yes. You don't turn down ESPN, I don't think. And I'll be honest with you, it's flattering for our sport to be included into something like this and to get this kind of attention. And so I think for a number of different reasons, it is probably important to make an appearance, and so I'll try to be on my best behavior.
You do have a tux, right? So
I do have a tux. I got a tux a few years back. I'm going to have to go and take a look at it, though, and look at the shirt and stuff to see whether or not it's, again, it's not something that's going to embarrass either the university or the sport of men's lacrosse.
Well, only you would want to represent the sport of lacrosse and think lacrosse first. That's certainly true. Well, we'll go back. Congratulations on the title. There was so much that happened this season. I know there was so much written about this season. I think that's why you got, nominated for it. And but I always remember your words in a parking lot one day when you just said, "Be a man." You weren't talking about me. You were talking about somebody else. But you said, "Be a man." You got to be a man. And I'll never forget that. And Dom, and through everything that has happened, I mean, if anybody has been a man, it has been you, and you know that.
Well, I'm flattered and humbled that you would say that, Mac. It's been a kind of period of time when. I'm getting a lot of credit now for the sort of the grand scheme of things, and really and truly, we kind of got knocked to the canvas this spring, and we have had some issues, and the only guiding light on the whole thing was to try to do the right thing. Oftentimes this spring, you're trying to generally, just kind of get one foot in front of the other, but at the end of the day, we kind of stuck to what was important to us, and and that's what probably carried us through ultimately. And even with all of that, it doesn't always. What's amazing about this is that we win the national championship. At the end of the season, these kind of things are often so finely tuned, and we were mix and matching the pieces. Changing bodies up until the last moment, and then we win anyway. So there is a little bit of a story there certainly, and. So I think it sort of defies some of the things that we've always thought are important about sports, frankly, about having your best players out there all the time and riding that horse and until you can't anymore. We weren't afraid to change some things up and use some different people, and we happen to have a group of guys that were, kind of ready when it was their turn and went in there and did the job. I don't think those things always work out quite that way in athletics. this was a rare case in which ultimately, it's amazing that we, frankly, that we standing there with the gold trophy at the end of the day on Memorial Day.
Mountain Dew Hotlining is Dom Starsia, head lacrosse coach at the University of Virginia. On top of all that, it's like you got no break, because then you got the Colin Briggs suspension, but he comes back and scores 5 goals. I mean, it's like every day there's going to be a Virginia lacrosse story.
It didn't make going into the weekend any easier, knowing that we were going to have to do something with Colin, and and again, it's so illogical that we would essentially bench our best player going into a game in the national semifinal game. We were already shorthanded to begin with, and a bunch of other guys just step up and do the job. When I told the team on Saturday morning that Colin wasn't going to play, they looked at me like, "Hey, coach, no big deal. We'll be fine." And like I said, again, you just don't take those kind of reactions for granted, and just had a bunch of guys that were really focused and were ready to step up and get it done. And Colin's reaction was exactly what we hoped it would be, and then again, almost the ultimate fairy tale. He comes back and plays so well in the final game.
Yeah, 5 goals. Dom, have you had to change who you are, though, with everything that's happened over the last year and a half? Whatever, have you had to change, and did you have to change this year, like who Dom Starsia really is?
Well, I think I'm changed because of all the things that we've been through. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest with you, Mac. A lot of the decisions we made this year, and the only best word I can think of is the courage to make some of those decisions were based on some of the things that we've been through mm-hmm. recently, and feeling like the winning and losing is just not that important. That we're willing to make some of these decisions because all we really have are the whatever guiding principles we decide to live our lives by, and so when you sort of get a little challenged about whether or not that was what you were going to stand up for, it wasn't that difficult for me, with things that we've been through, and so it's like you're sort of saying, look, I just don't care about the winning and losing that much, mm-hmm. I just lost my dad, and so by not worrying about it so much, we won, I don't think it's unrelated, frankly, and so I'm a different person, you couldn't help but have gone through some of these things and
Sure.
come out a little differently at the other end, and I think that's what life is all about, is kind of changing as you go along, and in coaching, I'm a lot better at this now than I was, a year ago or 10 years ago, and hopefully, I continue to become a better person, and I can make stronger decisions, and as long as I continue to feel that I'm willing to do those kind of things, that God willing, I'll continue to do this. So I don't think there's any question that I'm a different person than I was, a short while ago.
We've all been in the arena. Dom Starsia, our guest, Mountain Dew Hotline head coach of the national champion Virginia Cavalier lacrosse team. We've all been there, critics, whatever. Do you hear it, Dom? Do you totally walk away from it? Do your friends and family say, hey, the Boo Birds are out. They think there's time for a change. Do you hear that? Do you?
I think like most coaches, I don't seek out all of that information. At the same time, we live in a world in which it'd be impossible to block it all out, and I'm more concerned about how it affects my family. And
Sure.
These things that have happened in the last year or so have been, of such a magnitude that you just can't help but affect everybody around you. And my wife and my children, if nothing else, when they see me in distress, it distresses them, and what my situation is at home. I've got a couple of
Sure.
special needs kids that just couldn't be more precious or more vulnerable at the same time. And with everything going on, I was really concerned about the folks at home, and that was more important than this. That was related to some of the decisions we were able to make. That you're reminded of those kind of things, that there are more important things in the world than the score of a game. Again, standing up for what's important and taking care of the people around you, and how you treat people ultimately. And we got brutally reminded of all of those things, and I think in the end it probably helped. I think it contributed to what happened this spring.
Can you hardly believe you're now the winningest coach in D1 history?
Hey, Mac, there are so many things I can't believe right now that that's just another one of them. I mean, I never played lacrosse before I got to college, and I'm not, I'm only saying that because I think of myself as a goofy college freshman who got talked into playing lacrosse by a buddy who happened to be I happened to play freshman football with, and he said, "Let's go out for lacrosse." I said, "Sure, all right, let's try that." And here I am, 40 years later. I mean, how is this all possible? So I go home. The game that breaks the record. Kevin Sauer was just in here, the rowing coach. Kevin's a very spiritual guy, and I was saying to Kevin, Kevin, I'm not sure what I believe on the whole God thing exactly, but there were some forces at play here. We break the record. I'm at home on Long Island, 10 minutes from where I grew up. My mother, who passed away 30 years ago, her sister was at the game, her first lacrosse game ever. I mean, there was so much stuff going on this spring that you just can't think was just simply coincidental. When we have more time, you could sit and talk about this for a while. It's hard to talk about this season without waxing philosophic. And we had our kids back. We just finished the camp here at UVA, and I had a bunch of the players back. I hadn't seen them since the season ended, and you don't walk by somebody and say, "How you doing?" Because unless you got 15 minutes, you ain't doing that, so it's going to take us a while to process all of this before we can wrap our hands around it completely.
Well, I tell you what, I know you're busy, and we wanted to. I told Vincent, I said, "Is there any way?" I said, "Whenever you can, get it done." And of course, when the espy thing came out, now we wanted to get you on. There were several people who told me, of course, after the game, that they sat in front of the TV and cried. I was one of them because I think, well, no, and I cry now when supermarkets open. That's a P. Gillen line, but I mean, it just was so meaningful. It wasn't just a national title. Well, with everything in the Dom Starsia life and family and, the lacrosse world, it wasn't just a national title. But the way it came together, the win, Colin Briggs, as you said, the planets were absolutely aligning. And so, congratulations.
Mac, I appreciate it very much. And, you're one of the folks that have been there for a long time. And, you've been with us through the thick and the thin of things. And, I'm glad we had a chance to catch up today, and it's always good to talk to you, and I certainly appreciate that we could find a time to do it.
All right, best of the family. Do you want me to DVR the ESPYs?
I'll probably get somebody to do that for me at some point, but I appreciate the gesture.
All right, and I know you'll look good. Go with an orange tie. Go to El Joe's. Get one of the.
I'm going to try not to completely embarrass the university and the sport of men's lacrosse. That's so.
Yeah, don't do the stick thing. I mean, a lot of guys. Gene Corrigan would probably walk up with a stick, and So hey, all the best. Have fun, and have a great summer. And best to the family. We'll talk soon.
Thanks. We'll catch again.
Okay.
Thanks again, Mac.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Dom Starsia, head coach, University of Virginia.